Listen, I'm going to tell you something today that will probably shock you, frustrate you, and at the same time set you free. You have spent years believing that the reason you're stuck in life is because you're not motivated enough. You've spent years searching for inspiration, for energy, for that spark that will finally make you move, finally make you start, finally make you change. And I'm here to tell you very clearly, very directly, and with absolute love, that spark is not coming. And that's not a problem. It's the key. Because the truth is, you don't need motivation. You never did. You've been waiting on something that was never designed to carry you. Motivation is optional. Action is required. And when you understand that deeply, everything in your life starts to shift. You see, most people are waiting for the right moment, waiting for the perfect mental state, waiting to feel courageous enough, ready enough, confident enough, waiting for the fear to go away, waiting for the excitement to arrive. And they call that waiting getting motivated. But let me tell you how your brain actually works. Your brain has one job: keep you safe, not happy, not fulfilled, not successful, safe. And the number one way your brain protects you is by convincing you not to do anything that feels uncomfortable, risky, unfamiliar, or challenging. Which means everything that could change your life, your brain will try to stop you from doing it. So when you're sitting there saying, I don't feel motivated, what you're really saying is, my brain is doing its job too well. It's protecting you. It's talking you out of taking the very action that would create the life you want. This is why motivation is a trap. Because motivation is a feeling, and feelings aren't reliable. Feelings change depending on your sleep, your stress, your hormones, your environment, your mood, the weather, the people around you. You can't build a life on something that unstable. If you build a life on motivation, you build a life on sand. And every time the wave hits, every time something goes wrong, every time you feel tired or afraid, the structure collapses, and then you blame yourself. You say things like, I'm lazy, I'm broken, I'm not like other people. Meanwhile, the truth is there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You've just been using the wrong strategy. You've been relying on motivation when you should have been relying on something far more powerful: action. Action doesn't care how you feel. Action doesn't care if you're tired or scared or uncertain. Action just asks you to take one small step, one step that interrupts the fear, one step that interrupts the procrastination, one step that interrupts the overthinking, one step that interrupts the excuses, one step that signals to your brain, we're doing this. And let me tell you something remarkable about action. When you take action, even the tiniest action, your brain starts to shift physically, chemically, neurologically. That little step sends a message to your mind that you are in control, you are moving, you are alive, and suddenly you're not waiting for motivation anymore, because the motivation starts to show up after you move. Most people get this backwards. They think motivation leads to action, but action creates motivation. Think about it. How many times have you started doing something you didn't feel like doing, and after 5 minutes you were in a flow? You didn't want to work out, but you put on your shoes anyway, and 10 minutes in you felt good. You didn't want to start studying, but you opened the book anyway, and once you got going you felt focused. You didn't want to clean your room, answer the email, make the call, do the assignment, but once you started, you felt progress, and that progress created energy. That energy created momentum. That momentum created motivation. The movement creates the feeling, always. Not the other way around. Now let me tell you why this matters so deeply. Your entire life can change with one decision. The decision to stop waiting for the feeling and start moving, because the action matters more. And when you commit to this, when you decide that your goals, your dreams, your future, your health, your family, your potential are more important than your temporary feelings, everything opens up. The whole world shifts. Not because the world changed, but because you changed the way you move through it. I want you to imagine for a moment the version of you who is living the life you want, the version of you who has the confidence you admire, the version of you who is showing up fully, consistently, powerfully, the version of you who is not held back by fear, self-doubt, overthinking, procrastination, or excuses. That version of you is not more motivated than you. They're not more special. They're not braver. They're not luckier. They simply act before they feel ready. They take action when it's uncomfortable. They move even when it's inconvenient. And because they do that, they build an internal trust that most people never experience. Internal trust is everything. When you trust yourself, you don't need motivation. You rely on discipline, on commitment, on decisions, not emotions. You rely on structure, not mood. You rely on your ability to follow through, not your desire to follow through. And here's the beautiful thing. Self-trust grows through repeated action, small action, not big leaps, not heroic moments, just tiny, consistent steps that teach your brain, I do what I say I'll do. Let me give you an example. If right now I asked you to think of someone in your life who always says they're going to do something but never follows through, what do you feel? You feel doubt. You feel disappointment. You feel frustration because they've broken your trust so many times that you no longer believe their words. Now I want you to consider this. When you continuously avoid the actions you promise yourself, you become that person in your own life. You stop believing your own words. You stop trusting your own goals. You hear yourself making promises. And deep down you think, yeah, right, we say this all the time. That internal distrust kills your momentum. But the opposite is also true. When you take action, when you follow through even once, you rebuild trust. And once you start rebuilding trust, you start rebuilding your identity. And once you rebuild your identity, motivation becomes irrelevant because you're no longer living based on how you feel. You're living based on who you are becoming. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I met a man who wanted to completely transform his life. He was overweight, depressed, struggling financially, and felt like he had wasted years waiting for the right moment to change. He said to me, Mel, I'm just not motivated. And I told him the same way I'm telling you right now, you don't need motivation, you need movement. So I gave him one challenge, just one. I told him every morning, the moment you wake up, before you think, before you negotiate, before you talk yourself out of it, stand up within 5 seconds and walk outside for 2 minutes. That's it, 2 minutes. He laughed. He thought it was too easy. But for the first time in years, he tried it. On day 1, he stood up, walked outside, and walked back. 2 minutes. On day 2, he did it again. On day 3, something clicked. His brain started saying, we're doing this. No motivation, just action. Within a week, he was walking 10 minutes. Within a month, he was walking 30. 6 months later, he was running. A year later, he had lost 80 pounds, changed careers, and started a small business. Not because he got motivated, but because he moved before he felt ready. Because action builds momentum. Because tiny decisions build massive life changes. Now I know you might be thinking, that's great for him, but my situation is different. Of course it is. We all have different circumstances, different challenges, different responsibilities, different fears, but the psychology of human behavior, it's the same. The brain works one way, and the rules apply to all of us. If you wait to feel ready, you will wait forever. If you wait for motivation, you will stay stuck. If you move before you feel ready, your entire life opens up. And listen, I get it. Taking action is scary. Moving toward your dreams is scary. Doing the thing you've been avoiding feels heavy. But fear does not mean stop. Fear means go. Fear means this matters. Fear means you care. Fear means there is something on the other side worth reaching for. And the only way to shrink fear is to move toward it. Let me explain something powerful about fear. Fear grows in silence. Fear gets louder the longer you avoid something. Fear becomes a monster in your mind because you're feeding it time, attention, and imagination. The moment you take action, the fear starts to fade. Your brain realizes, this is not as dangerous as I thought. And that realization gives you strength. Strength gives you confidence. Confidence gives you momentum. And momentum gives you results. One of the biggest lies people believe is that successful people feel motivated every day. They don't. They feel tired, scared, insecure, uncertain, just like you. The difference is not in their feelings. The difference is in their actions. They don't wait. They move anyway. They don't negotiate with that voice that says, not now. They don't let dread win. They don't let discomfort decide their future. They make decisions based on their goals, not their emotions. And that's the shift I want for you. Every dream you have, the career change, the business idea, the weight loss, the book you want to write, the videos you want to make, the relationship you want to build, the life you want to create, it all begins with one step. One uncomfortable, imperfect, tiny action that interrupts the old pattern. One moment of courage. One moment where you choose your future over your fear. And I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not unmotivated. You are simply waiting for a feeling you do not need. You have everything you need right now. You have the ability to act. You have the power to choose. You have the strength to move. Not later. Now. So, here's what I want you to do. Today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today, I want you to pick one thing you've been avoiding. Something important. Something meaningful. Something that would move your life forward. It doesn't matter how small it seems. Maybe it's sending that email. Maybe it's cleaning your room. Maybe it's opening the document. Maybe it's going for a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's sitting down and working for 5 minutes. Pick one thing. And the moment you think of it, I want you to count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move. Do it now, not later, now. This simple act is going to change your brain. It's going to interrupt the old patterns. It's going to create a spark inside you. It's going to teach your mind that you are in control. And that is the moment your life starts to change. Because when you stop relying on motivation and start relying on decisions, you become unstoppable. There is a version of your life waiting for you. A stronger version, a happier version, a more confident version, a more fulfilled version, a version that is proud of how you show up, not someday, but every day. And the only thing standing between you and that version is action. So stop waiting. Stop overthinking. Stop doubting yourself. Stop telling yourself stories about why you can't, and start moving. Start acting. Start showing up. Start making decisions that match the life you want. Because you don't need motivation. You need movement. You don't need inspiration. You need action. You don't need the perfect moment. You need the courage to take one step. And I promise you, once you take that step, your life will begin to shift. You will feel stronger. You will feel clearer. You will feel more in control. You will feel momentum building. And that momentum will take you further than motivation ever could. You have everything you need. You always have. Now act like